as elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions. Constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Opeyemi Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you remains as we discuss the situations.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room, live on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. And I want to especially welcome you to a new month and the other part of the year. Yes, 1st of January to the 30th of June. It's been a period that's had so many ups and downs. Sometimes even in our individual lives, we've had a lot of compromises we've had to make in terms of how we keep body and soul together. But there's always so much to be excited about. It's July, the first day of July, and coincidentally, it happens to be the first working day of the week. Yes, and July is always a very special month for quite a lot of people that I know, including myself. Hey, that particular day where you have, it feels like the entire world appreciates you, the entire world knows you, the entire world loves you. You have loads and loads and loads of messages to respond to. I'm talking about your birthday. I'm not really so big on birthday as a person because I always feel like, some people don't talk to you for a whole year. They only remember on your birthday, and after then everybody moves on. Yes, I'm a July son, and I'm always super excited about the month. So I want to say a big shout out to everyone celebrating that special day today. And what a way to start the month, what a way to start the week, and then what a way to start the second half of the year. Yes, if I ask you to talk to me about how the first part of the year has been for you, I know we'll not leave this program today. So let's just make progress. Yes, we may, I feel we deserve a bit more than we're getting right now. We always do. The needs of human are absolutely not stable. However, we can have those basic things, especially when it comes to issue of governance and leadership and all of those. That's what we always talk about on the show. We do this every Mondays to Fridays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. I will talk about the situation. That's why we called it the Situation Room. Whatever it is, that is the exact news or conversation. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not always the very best of those news, but we always come here to break it down. We bring in individuals that understand the politics and the politics of some of these, activities. Sometimes it could be policies of government. Sometimes it could be certain bills being discussed on the floor of the House, certain laws being passed. So many issues that affect our daily existence as a people. My name is Opeyemi Akinyode, and don't forget, this is not the only space where we have you to come around and talk to us. We'll always start on Sunday night from 6 to 8 p.m. Fᴏʟʟᴏᴡ and his League of Elite Analysts always bring you everything you need to know. Yesterday's session was awesome. We went absolutely diaspora. Talked about the Russia conversation, talked about the election in France, talked about the election that will be happening in the UK on Thursday as well. If you missed yesterday, don't worry. Sunday again, 6 to 8 p.m. Join Sɪᴛᴜᴜ on Political Roundtable. And of course, on Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m., the big one again. It's called Midweek Politics. 1 to 3 p.m., 120 minutes, no break, no advert, just straight up a political discourse. Hey, we're having someone new joining us on that spectrum on Wednesday. You have to keep your fingers crossed and just get to meet the new member of that particular setup. But we're here today And I'm going to be speaking with someone that has been so particular about development, about the Nigerian story. But before I bring on my guest today, I don't know how you felt over the weekend with the bomb blast that happened at an event or a day that was supposed to be a day for family to rejoice, for families and friends to come together. It was an unfortunate day, and it just brought back the whole conversation around how much have we grown in this country. Are we really ready for the conversation of leadership and proper governance? Because you ask yourself, for a state like Maiduguri that have been, that have had a lot of issues to deal with in terms of insecurity. I remember when I was to write my project for my master's, and my project supervisor insisted that he wants me to have a primary data. That means my primary data must come from Maiduguri itself. Then I was running my master's in the University of Jos. I traveled to Maiduguri 3 times within the space of about a month. And in between that period, it was basically about, looking at how that state is, how devastating, the effect of bombing, of insurgency, Boko Haram, public infrastructure, schools, churches, motor parks, banks, everything was just in a terrible state. And then the governor of the state, which you need to give a lot of credit to, by the way, Professor Zulum, had done enough. In the last 5 years, by the way, this is the second time he's going in office, and he's done his best, to revive that state, to reconstruct the state, and more importantly, people that have been in IDP camps, he's tried his best to also return them to their ancestral lands and give them a befitting lifestyle. And you ask yourself again, how much of a setback was that a bomb blast over the weekend for the redevelopment that is happening in the northeast, and not just Maiduguri alone? And so you ask yourself, how much of a setback was that particular incident? Lives were lost again, and it just kind of opened healing wounds in terms of social justice that we're going to be focusing on the show today, by the way, and so many other issues. Well, like I said, my guest is live with me in the studio, and we're going to be looking at the issue of leadership and governance and accountability in this country. I remember a couple of weeks back, I asked Mr. Opeyemi, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and I said, whose fault is the challenge that we are facing in this country? Bad leadership or bad followership? Well, Mr. Sɪᴛᴜᴜ joins me on the show today. He's the executive director, the International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice, PSG Nigeria. He joins me on the show today via phone, and we're going to be looking at the issue of fixing this country along the line of commitment and accountability. You ask yourself again, monies that are not being accounted for. If you follow Sean Kimberley's podcast, The Micon, I'm sure you've seen a video of one of the former media aides to the former president, or one of the former president gave a critical and very disturbing expose in respect of how much money people were hiding in foreign accounts, proceeds of stolen crude. Disturbing videos, really disturbing videos. So you ask yourself, when people get up from their comfort zone and they choose to put themselves up for public service, oh, I want to be the governor of my state, I want to be the president of my country, I want to be the local government chairman, I want to be a legislator, vice senator, House of Reps, House of Assembly member. What exactly comes to your mind as a leader and as a follower? What do you expect from these people? When you have conversation with them, what do you ask them? When you sit down with them, what do you tell them? Do you see an avenue for you to also take from them? Perhaps you feel the national cake they have access to, or you see an avenue to put them to question. Hey, when you were campaigning, you said you were going to fix this road, but you spent 4 years in office, you've not done anything. We're going to move around that conversation today. Mr. Sɪᴛᴜᴜ, good evening, and thank you for joining us live in the Situation Room on Mainland FM in Lagos.
Hey, Akinyode, thank you so much for inviting me to this conversation, and I deeply appreciate, and my greeting goes out to the listeners even right now, and I look forward to what we will be talking about.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
First off, I know you have a very, very busy schedule. So when I reached out to you, I was quite, optimistic that you were going to, accept to be on the show. So I need to appreciate you for accepting to, share your wealth of knowledge with us, and to everyone listening or watching us on our social media spaces. We say we welcome you to the program once again.
Thank you. I came back from a journey, exhausted, but when duty calls, especially on topics like this that are very dear to my heart, I will always jump at it because I want to be speaking about them. We can't be better without knowing the things that are important to us.
Thank you very much. So before we get into the crux of the matter today, Mr. Ishaya, you're someone that have been so particular about accountability, about public respect for the rights of the people, especially the ones that voted into office. More importantly, you've also championed issue of people respecting the Nigerian conversation. How difficult exactly it could be to have embark on the journey of nation building. But before we get into all of those, what exactly, how did you feel when you read stories of the unfortunate, suicide bombing or suicide attack, whatever it was that happened on Saturday in Maiduguri? How much of a setback is that to the effort of this government to keep Nigerians safe, especially for all of the things, the rehabilitations that the governor of Borno State has been embarking on in the last 5 years?
Yeah, so Akinyode, what beats my mind, and sadly so, is the fact that we are not taking into account or paying attention to the fact that such kind of event takes us in cycles, and this cycle is vicious. Each time such thing happens, whether it's suicide bombing, whether it's carnage that arises out of conflict, ethnic violence or religious violence, or whatever the violence is, what is happening to us is that we are losing a lot. It's causing a setback to us, both in terms of infrastructure and also in terms of human capital development and human person, because we lose people. People are the most greatest resource you can have, because without them you can't build nothing. So we lose people, people die, or people lose some vital parts of their bodies. People lose their means of livelihood, and it's a lot, and it affects us emotionally, because when you lose your loved ones in such kind of a crisis, except God helps you, you need to remember that. So emotionally you are out of place. And to compound it is that as people hear of such kind of things, it sends anxiety, it triggers fear, that vast anxiety, and some get depressed, and because of that we lose the ability or the strength to be able to focus in the things we are supposed to do. For example, if you hear your loved one is killed through such an, what happens is that when you get depressed, you lose the potential to be able to engage in any special enterprise. You might not be able to focus on the job, so there is reduction in productivity. And I can talk about the ease of such kind of things. It's just that we are still experiencing this kind of thing, and it appears as if our government is helpless in the face of all of this, because cardinal duty or function of any government in any given society world over is welfare and security of our citizens. If government fails in providing security, then what else is government going to do? Mark tried. You go to Maiduguri, you see a lot of development, and they have tried with the security situations. But when things like this come again, you are asking, are we really winning the war against the president? Or we are just playing around it, like some kind of cosmetic arrangement? So what is the root? Why are we not dealing with it? Why is this monstrous event still resurfacing when we thought we have gone past it? So different kinds of emotion going through my mind since I heard about it. And I believe you share the same, and many people out there who are listening might be having the same kind of feelings or questions in their minds.
Thank you very much for opening that conversation that way. I felt really, like I said, for someone that had been, to that state a couple of times, and I see how much, development needs to be sustained in that state. I mean, the fact that lives have been lost, you see quite a lot of people, without one leg, one hand. You just have a feeling that these are victims of insurgents. And from 2009, it's been from one level of issue to the other, and it's even more worrying. The coordinated, attack of Saturday. The first was at the funeral. The second one was at the burial ground, where the people that were affected by the first blast at the funeral were being buried. And the third one was at the general hospital, where the people that survived the first attack was also being taken to. It beats my imagination. And before we get into it again, before we leave this one rather, what does this say to you about the level of sophistication of the people we're fighting with against what we have in terms of security?
I think against their sophistication, the question we should be asking, or what we should be talking about, is our security apparatus or agencies able to tame this monster? And the more I think about it, and this is my personal opinion, if someone wants to think about it, we can argue it another day. That I have studied this for a very long time. I get feedback every week on my desk on how many people are killed in Nigeria, not only in Maiduguri or in Northeast or Northwest, all over Nigeria, and the actors that are perpetuating those kind of problems. And so the issue is, do we have a security system? How willing are they? How equipped are they? And I can tell you straight away, that's why I said it's my own opinion, even though this opinion is not like emotional thing. I have philosophized around it. I have floated a logistic argument around it. I came out with a deduction out of it that is both sound and I believe valid for the premise of my conversation. And this is the conclusion, that our security system as it is, and of course like many other institutions in Nigeria, is important. Otherwise, how is it that such kind of attack is coordinated and there is no resistance whatsoever? It means that they understand the system, the security architecture, they understand the weakness of the security. It is possible that they have moles in the security architecture. It is possible that within the ranks of those who are leading, there are accomplices. It's a syndicate.
Okay, so let's get straight up into the discourse for today. Without peace, there can't be sustainable development. But unfortunately, without social justice, there also can't be peace. So I want to ask you, as the executive director of an organization that talks about peaceful building and social justice, how vital...
You live on the mainland, yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
It's as vital. Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
How vital is the issue of having justice in the midst of all of this? And this is what I'm talking about. You have a system where, insurgents are being arrested and then they kept in a place, and then the government talks about rehabilitation, and then they are brought back into the society. But what happens to the people that have been affected by their, terrorist activities, the people that have lost their loved ones, the people that have lost part of their bodies? How do you have such a one-sided justice in a society like ours?
No, so I can tell you straight away, the scale of justice is not balanced in our nation, and the absence of justice or social justice means that we are tickling on a time bomb that is going to explode if we don't do something pragmatic about it. I have been a critic of rehabilitation, not because I don't want the people to be rehabilitated, but I believe that the people who deserve to be rehabilitated, who deserve to be taken seriously, are the victims of these injuries. But what we have is that a person goes out to kill, and you are taking the killer to decorate the person, to celebrate the person, to reinject him back into the society, while his victims are still languishing in camps and are destitute in their land and are displaced. People who once used to have houses they own, who used to have a means of livelihood, are today reduced to beggars on the street and are the mercies of NGOs or INGOs who are bringing handouts. People who used to have their humanity have been ripped of it. A woman who used to have a husband and a happy family lost her husband. A child who is having a promising future is having to deal with becoming an orphan. And yet we are not looking at them to rehabilitate them as though nothing happened to them, but rather what we are doing is that we are taking the perpetrators of the carnage and are rehabilitating them and are even taking pictures with them and talking loud about them. Are we not motivating people to take the side of violence? So I ask you the question. So the scale of justice is not balanced. People don't want us to talk like this. They think we have problem with rehabilitation. No. But I believe that the person who is ripped of his dignity is the person who should first be attended to. By the way, the purpose of government is to punish wrongdoers. So if a person enters into your territory and is now causing damage and in the light of these problems we are having, shouldn't you arrest that person and force the person to face the rules of the law? But you hear people say they are victims of injustice. Also, what about the ones who are being damaged, as it were, and are living in IDP camps? Are they not victims of social injustice? And so I will tell you, I think it was Peter Tosh who sang a song. Everyone is singing about peace, but no one is talking about justice. And for as long as we don't talk about justice, peace will elude us. And it's not about Maiduguri, it's not about North-East or North-West, it's about Nigeria. Even Lagos, even the South, people need to hear this. And it's time for people to begin to understand these issues and begin to talk about them. If you think you are safe, you are living in an ivory tower, or you are that hospital buried his head in the sand with all of his body exposed and thinking it is hidden. That is a joke. There is a monster that we must call out and we must tame. And such is the kind of things we are seeing even right now.
Really disturbing. Mr. Ishaya Inowa Dokwa is the executive director of the International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice, an advocate for a new Nigeria. And that's exactly where this conversation is taking this evening. Some weeks back, the president, rolled out drums to celebrate Nigeria's 25 years of unbroken democracy. The longest stretch of democracy the Fourth Republic, the longest stretch of democracy we've had since 1960 when we got independent. But in the midst of all of this, we've had issues of security, corruption, infrastructural decay, left, right, and center. And I want to ask you, as someone that have constantly advocated for a possible new Nigeria, for someone that have constantly advocated for justice and fairness and equity in a society, how difficult is the journey of nation building?
The journey of nation building is very frustrating, to be honest with you. There is no better way to put it. And I have seen people who gave up. They have given up the fight. 3 weeks ago or so, someone reached out to me and said, how are you still sustaining this passion? And I said, why are you asking? She said, some of the people around you whom you've started out with have abandoned it. Because sometimes it leads to disillusionment. You become disillusioned. The more you talk about nation building, the more you talk about social justice, the more you try to encourage people, the worse the situations are becoming. So people find it difficult to hold on to hope, as it were. And I can tell you that this journey is a difficult one. Yes, for people like me, and I trust me, there are many others, we are understanding ourselves, we are getting to know ourselves, who are still holding. As a matter of fact, in recent months, there are many people who are seeing the possibilities of resetting this nation. And so we have a kind of balance. We said Nigeria would be reformed. We need transformational leaders who would be intentional in transforming this nation. So we need reformation. And if reformation is not going to happen, which is easier, which is cost-effective, which is good, if that is not going to happen, then Nigeria is going to witness a revolution. People don't like listening, hearing that. And now, if revolution happens, it's going to be disastrous, because we are going to face a situation that is worse than civil war. We are going to face a situation where there will be many warheads. Already, you talk of the Northeast, there is Boko Haram, there is ISWAP. You go to the South, there is the movement for the emancipation of Niger or the
IPOB.
Now you go to Southeast, you have IPOB. You know, they will just naturalize as forces to safeguard their own region or their own people. So who is going to win at the end of the day? And trust me, there are some who are going to rise on the banner of religion, either Islam or Christianity. So who is going to win the day? We are going to have many dropping dead in this nation. And our leaders need to know that they have a responsibility and they have a trust to do what is necessary. Now, any person in leadership who is doing well and is living above the waters, I celebrate that kind of a person, and I just pray that God will increase your strength and the fortitude to continue to do what is good. But if you are a leader and you are watching these things and taking advantage of the system, all you are doing is to look for yourself. Look, you are going to have all of these words amassed, that you might not be able to eat it with your own mouth, because it has been said, if you have a glass house, you will not throw a stone, because you don't know where it is going to end. And this is the situation. This is where we are in our nation. So if you are a leader and you find what I am saying offensive, it's like finding my hole in your garden. You need to weed your garden because there are weeds there. But again, celebrating 25 years of uninterrupted democracy is good. We are thankful to God that we've come this far. But the question is, how did we fare within the 25 years of democracy? And I will tell you how we have fared. We've not been able to fix electricity. We've not been able to fix our roads. We've not been able to improve on security. We've not been able to improve on our education. Even curriculum development, we are still dealing with curriculum that the West have departed from. But when we're talking about robotics and all of these technologies, we are still trying to cram some things that are very obsolete. Things that even if you don't go to school, there are softwares that can solve those problems. So we've not been able to do that. And I can mention many other problems. Today you are traveling on the road, you are thinking, is this safe? And so your anxiety level gives up. And if you check the landscape, you will see that the way we have fared is that hunger has increased. And just 2 weeks ago, I was going to eat food, and I shared this story like this is the 10th time in the last 2 weeks, because it hurts my heart. From one of the hospitals, I was somewhere outside the country, and I was going to eat lunch. It's just veggies, just few slices of vegetables and a slice of meat. And then I lost my appetite. So I had to pray. I said, God, please give me appetite to eat. And I captured my prayer in 2 sentences. I added to the picture of that food and put it on my status. And a woman who is she's a teacher in a hospital here back in Nigeria chatted me and said, do you know that things are getting very bad? I said, can you explain it to me? And she said, a girl of 1 year, 7 months. I can hear me. 1 year, 7 months. A child of 1 year, 7 months, a girl, was taken, rushed to the hospital. And when they did their examination, they saw that she was poisoned. And so they called the father and said, do you know this? And the father broke down and he owned up to it, and he said, I poisoned her. I want her to die. And they said, why? He said, I can't stand watching my daughter crying day and night because there is no food. I've done everything to get food. I'm not getting it. I am tired. I want to kill her so that I would have peace of mind. Now you might insult this father. You might say whatever you want to say. But the truth is, lack of social justice makes that he's having nothing. Today we are debating of minimum wage of 65,000. If you have 65,000 naira as your salary, how much are you paying for commuting, transportation? How much change will you have? What will the change feed you in a month? Now, by this, what we are doing is we are multiplying corruption and making it a lifestyle, which it has been is pandemic. Because you will have to go and steal or cut corners in order to get food to augment your salary, which won't take you anywhere. I think it was on your status I saw this morning that the salary has ended before the week began or something like that. I'm just paraphrasing it. So this is our reality.
Yes.
Yes. These are our reality. So, yes, we celebrate 25 years. We are thankful to God. But beyond that, to our leaders, how have we fared? Even the roads that our colonizers left, we have not been able to manage them. Even the electricity, because I grew up when it used to be called NEPA, it doesn't go out. But how are we faring today? We have seen industries. I grew up in the city of Kano. You can think of Sharata Industrial Estate, or Chala Industrial Estate, or Bombay. There are many companies, textiles in Kaduna and other places. Where are they today? And they began to leave this nation. The factories and industries began to fold up because there is no electricity. One, and the cost of running heavy machines on diesel was unbearable. These things are happening before our very own eyes. And you want us to celebrate good governance or what? Look, before we end this program, to anyone who is hearing, I'm not spelling doomsday because I see a hope. I mean, I have hope and I see a Nigeria that is going to work. And we are working towards it. Be on the lookout for that book I wrote, Love Nigeria. It's a call to patriotism. It's a call to say, look, what you want to say is what you do is you love that thing. If you don't love your wife, you can't get the best out of her. And so crying and lamenting and whining does not help and it's not going to help. It has never fixed any problem. But to look at the issues objectively without being sentimental, not sentimental to regionalism or ethnicity or religion, no emotion attached, but to look at it and ask ourselves, how can we solve this problem? There is no problem that is beyond redemption, my friend. There is no situation that can't be fixed. It's just to look at it and to find solutions to it. And it's the work. After all, Nigeria is not the end of the earth. This is not the worst nation on earth. There were nations that were being far poorer and worse than we are today. But today they are on a trajectory and a path of glory. We can even think of little, what's this country in Africa that is thriving now? Where you have the Hutus and the Tutsis.
Okay, that's Liberia.
Rwanda.
That's Rwanda, I beg your pardon. Rwanda.
Yeah,
Rwanda.
Or even Liberia. Yeah, Rwanda had a situation that within the span of a month or thereabouts, nearly 1 million people have perished. Yeah, but they came together and today people want to go to Rwanda. If you think of Dubai, when we discovered oil in Nigeria and we have started exploring it 2 years before they discovered there was nothing there apart from sun, water, which is the sea, and heat from the sun. That was all that they had. But look at how transformed it is today. So there is hope for this nation. We just need to kill greed, kill selfishness, and it's doable, by the way. And we are working on it. So help us God. We are working on it and it's going to work. So the questions you are asking are the reasons why I'm talking you where I'm talking, that all is not well with us at the minute.